What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to talk about the CPI data report coming out for tomorrow and give you guys a warning about it. Let me just mention that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. Anyways, as you guys know, in my video from yesterday, I was talking about how we had a big move coming because of PPI data. Remember, I said that, and I said that if the data is decent, we're going to be looking for a big move to the upside. And what happened was we got data that was below expectations today for PPI, and SPY is currently up 1.5%. Tesla is up 5%. The QQQ is up 2.27%, Nvidia is up 6%, Bitcoin is up 1.75%. The market is green. The bulls are stepping in, right? Exactly as we were talking about if we got decent data. And now I have another warning about that, at least heading into tomorrow. So I expect another big move. Tomorrow we have CPI coming out an hour before the market opens. This is going to be very, very important. Now, looking at the data, there's a strong downtrend in CPI. That does not mean there's a downtrend in price, it's just CPI. So what this means is the rate at which prices are increasing is slowing down. So prices are still going higher, but they're going higher at a slower rate. That's what the Fed has been looking for. So that's important because now, with this very, very big downtrend in CPI, this is making things look a little bit more positive, at least for the Fed's policies, and the market is loving this. So I think that there is also a uh, possible amount of hype that's kind of building up right now because there is very positive anticipation of CPI. That's another reason why the market's pumping. And whether we get a good CPI will determine if this pump continues. Looking at different charts, we are seeing lots of signals that suggest CPI will be decent, especially as crude futures was decent and PPI was decent as well. And looking at the historical data, it's been pretty good for the last couple of months. Now, I know the data is not 100% accurate. It's not 100% trustworthy all the time because of how it's calculated. But I'll say this, regardless of that, the charts still remain bullish, and we just have to go with this data nonetheless. So if you're holding anything overnight, just be warned that there's going to be a big move that happens before the market opens when CPI comes out. And we're going to have to watch and see what that leads to. So you want to be very careful when things like that happen. My only concern, or one of my biggest concerns right now, involves this whole situation in the Middle East. There's still a lot of threats of a big attack. It's getting more and more tense as I speak. So please be very careful, guys. My analysis of how the market looks bullish right now could shift if we get a big attack. As of right now, it has not happened. So assuming if it doesn't happen, the market will most likely remain bullish. And then the next factor would be CPI, which I think will most likely be decent, most likely aligned with expectations. I will talk more about the details in my later video. But what do I see for SPY? Honestly, guys, we have critical support at 538. If we lose that, there's going to be a zip back down to 535 or lower. And we're having this resistance very close to 542, a little bit under that. If we break the 542s, we could be pushing for 544. Overall, the chart looks bullish. The 4-hour time frame is looking bullish. Looking at the daily, we also look quite bullish when looking at our MACD. This looks bullish. There's nothing bearish about this. The daily's strong. The weekly's looking pretty good. The 4-hour looking good. We're just bullish. We're straight up bullish. There's nothing bearish about this chart whatsoever so far. So the chart suggests, excuse me, that we're most likely going to see more upside tomorrow. Most likely that's going to be the case. I don't know for sure though. It depends on CPI and such, but I just want to call that out. Now, sometimes there's manipulation on CPI days where we kind of like pump and then dump. So just remember that. Just keep that as a warning, but just know the charts still look bullish and they favor upside. So I want to make that very, very clear. For ES, we're looking bullish. If we break 54.56, I see ES going. So this is the previous support becoming resistance as well. So this is a tough resistance we're at on ES. If this breaks, we have potential to go all the way up towards, we could get very close to about 5,500, which is going to be a big development on the chart if we break that resistance. If not, I'll be looking at 5,400 as key support. And then if that fails, we'll be dipping. But this chart remains bullish. For SPX, we look bullish. We look pretty bullish, in my personal opinion, especially if we hold above 54.10. If that holds, we'll be looking for a big push all the way up towards 54.50. And if we end up losing 54.10, I'd be looking for a dip all the way down towards 53.62, especially as we have that gap to fill. But I still think that the charts favor upside. So we look bullish on ES, SPX, and SPY right now. Nvidia looks bullish because we're breaking resistance at our key EMA. The EMA is going to be critical for us. If we end up losing 113, look for a dip back down to 108. As long as we're above that, we're looking at 116 as resistance. Break that. I think we could be heading for this imbalance towards 120. Nvidia looks bullish, technically speaking. We look like we want to go up to 120. Now, this could change depending on what happens in the Middle East, depending on CPI. Most likely, CPI will be decent, in my opinion. So this is looking pretty good, but we'll see how this ends up developing, at least moving forward. But this looks bullish, in my opinion. For Bitcoin, we're looking a little bit more bullish. Notice how we've been on this uptrend since the start of August. We came down to make a higher low and we're trying to push. We're looking at resistance around 61,750 and our key supports at 59,650. We look a little bit more bullish, so watch to see how things end up developing, and that's going to be very careful, very, very important for how we're going to move. I'm still going to be very careful nonetheless with this, but just know it's still bullish. Tesla looks bullish. Why is it bullish? We broke structure. I called out the inverse head and shoulders. I said that we might be looking for a push if we break 200. I also called out 205 as a potential target. It played out perfectly. Now we're looking at 208 as resistance. If that breaks, we're going up to about 212. 212 is going to be critical because we have previous support becoming resistance right there. And if that breaks, we're going to be looking for a bigger push higher, all the way up towards 216. Now, if we fail, if we end up projecting at 208, we're going to be looking for a dip back down towards basically 205 and then 203. But this chart is looking more bullish. It looks like it wants to be pushing to the 210s, in my opinion. Now, it depends on CPI, of course, depends on these other things. But like I said before, we look pretty bullish. QQQ looks bullish. There's nothing bearish. It's breaking out right now. Look at 462 as resistance. If that breaks, I'm looking for 464.4. Break that, and I think we're going to be going very close to 470. So we have a lot of upside potential in QQQ. If we turn back down, make sure you watch 460 support, followed by basically 455. That's where we have this gap support. In my opinion, regardless of these levels, we look bullish. It looks like it wants to go higher to 464 plus. Will CPI cause that? We'll have to wait and see, but just know that's what the chart suggests. Aapl has tough resistance around 222. If we break that, we're going back up to 225. If not, we could be dipping back down to 218. And also watch 216 as critical support. If we lose that, we have two EMAs there, then we're going to be looking for a bigger drop. But so far, Apple's on an uptrend. For a few more, let's just go over some of these real quick. Coinbase looks bullish. Going to be looking for 205. Look at 200 and 205 as resistance. If we break that, we go higher. If we end up losing 195, look for a dip, but we look bullish nonetheless. Amazon's looking more bullish. Look for a break of 171. If that breaks, we're going to be looking for a bigger push for 175. If not, make sure you look at critical support 167. We still look bullish. We favor hitting 170 plus, 172 plus, excuse me. On Meta, I called out 530. I said 530 is likely coming on Meta. If we continue to push and hold above our key resistance, hold above 520, lo and behold, we got to 530. Our next target is going to be 534. I think almost 535, where there's some balances if we continue to pump. If we lose 520, we turn back down, by the way. But this chart's suggesting 530 wants to come. It's the same thing with the rest of these. Microsoft is bullish. If we hold above 412, we're looking for 416. If we lose that, we turn back down. We look bullish. Google looks more bullish. I think it has that gap to fill around 168. If we hold above 166, we're kind of struggling because we're shuffling, but there is a little bit of an uptrend being established, and this looks like it wants to fill the gap. So the market's bullish. It's straight up just bullish. There's nothing else for me to say. Okay, we look like we want to go higher. The market's pumping very nicely. It's awesome. However, that does not mean we have to become complacent. And that's a very important lesson I learned in trading. When you're day trading or when you're investing in the markets, you don't want to just assume, oh, we're going to go up and just go crazy and just start, throwing all your money into the markets. That's not how it works because the market still has risk. You have to remember that. Why is there risk? There's many different reasons. The market's always at risk. On any given day, anything could happen, whether it's a terrorist attack, whether it's something else that's going on. You have to be very, very open-minded to all of that. Okay. So yeah, I think we look bullish, but I'm very, very mindful of all these risks involving what's happening with the Middle East and such. That's why I'm not going too aggressively. I'm not like just dumping way too much money. I'm actually playing things kind of small, especially for CPI. So I want to make it very clear. We look bullish. The market favors upside, but I'm being very, very careful with the risks, trying to manage them, and just be very careful depending on what happens on the news and such. So Thank you for listening, guys. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. I'll be back in a couple of hours for another update. Until I see you guys again, peace out.